Oh God, I've chosen the wrong day to do this video, haven't I? Look at that hair. Woo! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about Trek America. As you guys know, I've been on 2 Trek America trips so far and I've had a lot of questions about it, so I thought I'd make this video and answer some of your questions here. So I went on the Southern BLT trip last year. I booked this for my birthday, so we went from Los Angeles to New York. So this trip was a mixture of big cities, wide open spaces, national parks, great culture, live music, and that's what I wanted for my birthday. I just really wanted to experience like a whole range of America, and I wanted to tick off as many cities as possible for my birthday because I really want to hit all 50 states. So we went to Memphis and did some live music there. We saw alligators. We went to the Grand Canyon and had some pizza at sunset, which was amazing. We went to Monument Valley and the Navajos even sang a happy birthday song for me, which was crazy. Happy birthday to you. May you have many more to come true. We did line dancing in Nashville, and then we ended the tour in New York, and I stayed for a few days after, and it was just absolutely amazing. Honestly, one of the best trips of my whole life. I'll remember that trip forever. This year I did the Glaciers and Grizzlies tour, which was an 11-day trip in Canada and started and ended in Vancouver. We went to the Rockies. We saw so many bears in and around Jasper. We saw grizzlies and we saw black bears. Oh, it was just fantastic. We went ziplining in Whistler. We stood on a glacier, which was crazy. And we took a dip in a hot springs, which was just fantastic. So yeah, I've been on 2 tours now and equally just amazing, and I can't wait to go on another one. I'm addicted to this stuff now. So I had a range of questions over Twitter, my Facebook, my email. So I've had lots and lots of questions. So I'm going to answer these now in a more organised format for you. So I didn't know I was going to do this video today, so I'm just going to read out the questions and then maybe you guys will realise that was your question. So I'm gonna just read them out and I'm not gonna write down who's they're from. So it's all anonymous. So who is Trek America? What is Trek America? So they are a tour operator who run scheduled itineraries throughout the North, South and Central Americas. So you can jump on a group tour and see the States or Canada or Central America, South America with a group of people like yourself with the same sort of mindset, and see and explore that area with them and not have to do it alone. So Trek America do 4 different types of tours. They do camping tours, so that's going in a tent and spending your nights under the stars and that sort of thing. Not really for me. They do hotel tours, so budget lodging tours is what they're called, which is what I did last year. Budget lodging tours can be anything from hotels, motels, holiday inns, yay, guest houses, hostels, anything like that. And then they have plus tours, which is what I did this year. I did a plus tour, which is basically purely hotels, so no hostels or anything like that. So if you have anxieties about hostels like I did a few years ago, then maybe that one is a good one to start with, and then you can kind of build your way up to doing the BLT tours and then hopefully camping if you're not really up to camping. I will do a camping tour eventually, I just don't want to right now. The last one is overland, so most of those are for the South America tours, so that's like anything to like boats and local transport, and they have vehicles, like really like large vehicles as well, so anything like that is like more South and Central America. So lots of tours to choose from. Their tours are also for 18 to 38-year-olds. They do have another sister company called Grand American Adventures, so if you're over that age range, don't worry, they still have something for you. I'm under 21. Is it worth going to the States? Yes, of course it is. When I went on the first Trek America trip, we went to Vegas, which was amazing, and we did a bus, and we did a party bus, which was just one of the best highlights of the whole trip for me. I think it was free. The girls were under 21, so obviously they couldn't drink while they were in Vegas, and they still had an amazing time. Honestly, one of the girls I thought had a better time than I did. But they were allowed on the party bus. They just couldn't get into the clubs because obviously you need ID, and they do ID you ridiculously well in America. So I wouldn't chance drinking there, but if you really want to see the States and you're under 21, then definitely do it, because honestly it's not all about the drinking, it's all about the exploring and the excitement and meeting new people and seeing all these amazing places. So alcohol is not the be all and end all of everything, so don't worry about it. I want to go on a Trek America trip, but I'd have to do it on my own and I'm really scared. Aww. Yeah, solo travel is a really exciting thing to do, and honestly it was so scary for me. Like, I have really bad anxieties. Like, I speak about this like quite a lot now. I think it's great that people like talk about anxieties now more than they used to. Honestly, you will be fine. I was freaking out when I first went traveling for the first time on my own. It was with Camp America, and I went traveling on my own. I've never flown before, really, alone before, and then I went traveling after, and then I went on this Trek America trip last year, and then oh my god, now I travel all the time on my own. I just absolutely love it. As you can see from my channel, I've been to Barcelona, I've been to Amsterdam this year, and I've just, honestly, it's absolutely amazing. What you need to remember is, when you're traveling with Trek America, if you're traveling on your own, you won't be alone. Most of the passengers, I read, about 70% of Trek America passengers travel alone. So you won't be alone. So you will be alone, but you won't be alone. It's really scary at first, but honestly, if you do it, you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. How many people were on your trip? 13 is the maximum for most Trek America tours. For my first tour, it was a maximum of 13, and we had 11. We had 11 passengers, and then for my last tour that I did, which was for Canada, we had a plus tour, and plus tours are usually up to 50 passengers, but for this tour that I was on, there was only 11 or 12 of us. So yeah, you could have a maximum of 13 or 50, so it depends on how you kind of want your tour to be like. Who was on your tour and where were they from? On both tours I had a variety of cultures and people from different places. So we had people from Germany, Netherlands, America, oh my god, I'm gonna forget someone, Australia, a Kiwi, I think. Who else did we have? The UK, there's a lot of British people, mostly British, but yeah, we had people from everywhere, so it was pretty amazing, and it was great to like talk to people from different cultures and different nationalities and stuff like that, and honestly I just love meeting new people, so yeah, it was great. Who did you have to share a room with? On my first tour, I shared a room with Yvonne, who was from Scotland. On my second tour, I was with Eileen, who was from America. Trek America pair you up with another passenger of the same gender, so you will always be with another passenger of the same sex as yourself. My tour, whoever you were buddied up with, you were buddied up with for the whole tour, so you would be with the same person throughout that trip. I have seen on other tours that passengers do, sometimes passengers swap, and they rotate, and sometimes they have a passenger who has like the odd one out, so we had an equal amount of people. The boys didn't. The boys there were 3 boys, so 2 boys were paired up, and then that person had a room to themselves. And they can either rotate that, or that person can stay on their own and have a single room throughout the trip, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it depends on your group, and but I absolutely love my room buddies, and Eileen, I miss you. I've never been on a camping trip, but I have been on a hotel, a plus tour and a BLT trip. And for the BLT trip, we were in a twin share room, so I was always with another passenger. And we had hostel nights in San Diego, Austin, Texas, and DC for my Southern BLT trip, and we were in hostel rooms for those. So we were in dorm rooms. For one of the nights we were sharing with just the girls, another one we were sharing with everyone, so it was like a group experience for all of us. We were all in the same room, so that was quite fun. So yeah, it can be a little bit different, and you just need to check what your hotel arrangements, and it is on the website, and it will be in your Trek tips as well, so that's how I found out. Okay, next question. What was the Trek van like? Okay, so the van is a 14-seater vehicle. So you have your tour guide, who do all the driving for you, and then there's 13 seats for all the trekkers. There's plug sockets. I get asked this all the time. So they're like cigarette lighter plug sockets. So you can stick your USB cable into that and then charge your phone up if you want to from there. There was Wi-Fi for the USA one, but not for Canada because you're in the Rockies. There's no way that you'll get Wi-Fi in the Rockies. But there was Wi-Fi in all the hotels that I went to and all the hostels. So yeah, you will stay connected throughout the trip. That was another question, answered it in one. How long were the drives? I get asked this question all the time. So the drives can be long. It's America and Canada, and you know, it takes a while to get from place to place. If you really want to know what exactly the drive times were, I would get an estimate from Google Maps. That's probably the best way to do it, and that's how I did it when I was looking at my Southern Sun trip and my Glaciers and Grizzlies trip. I think the longest drive I had was maybe 8 hours, but that we call that Van Appreciation Day. And I think that was in Texas somewhere. We also had another long one, which was like basically the whole state of the Mississippi. So, but if you want to get to that place from A to B, then yeah, it's going to take that long. Some drives were an hour. So, and people ask me, do I stay in yeah. So we broke these up really well. So that's why I didn't really complain or moan about these at all, because one, we woke up really early. Sometimes it was like 6 o'clock in the morning or something, so we could get out, get in the car and just get to where we wanted to be by the afternoon and spend the whole day there. Most of the time we would wake up, get in the van and fall asleep again. We'd also break it up by doing toilet breaks, food breaks, snacks, and then our tour leaders would even stop and show us really strange things. Like America had lots of strange like pit stops that you could have a little look and have a wander around at. Like we saw a foam henge. So weird. Yeah, I don't want to spoil any more because they're really fun and they're secretive, and I don't want to spoil them for you because they are fun. Do I need a sleeping bag? If you're on a camping trip, you'll need a sleeping bag, obviously. But for the BLT trips, we were told we needed a sleeping bag because we were going to have a cabin night, but that didn't happen in the end. But if you want to know if you do need a sleeping bag, just check your track tips because it's listed in there. Easy. I've been waiting for my trip to become guaranteed, which feels like forever. When did you find out? So when you book your trip, you'll see if it's guaranteed or not. Guaranteed means it's definitely going ahead. They don't guarantee their trips until there's at least 4 or 5 passengers on the trip. So it's basically there's no time limit on when it will become guaranteed. It will be when people book onto the trip. So it could be the next day, it could be 3 months before the trip happens. Like I booked my trip a year before I went away for the Sun BLT, and I had to wait like 6 months for it to become guaranteed. So it was a really long, anxious wait. So I completely understand. I checked their website every single day to see if it was going to be guaranteed every day. So on their website, they have a little section where you can see your trip and it can say guaranteed or not. So if you're booking, you can see if it's a guaranteed trip. If it isn't, then, and you book it, you just need to wait and just be patient. And it's horrible. It is horrible waiting. I'm so impatient. I'm one of the most impatient people ever. But yeah, you just have to wait, and hopefully people will book onto that trip with you and it'll go ahead. And yeah. What happens on the first day? Most Trek America tours start at 7:30 on the first morning. You'll see on your trek tips and the guides that say what time your trip starts. So if it's different, check them. You'd meet the tour leader, you fill out loads of paperwork like health and safety and stuff, but they also get you to fill out some other fun stuff as well. I can't spoil that. Once all the paperwork's done, we basically get in the van, we do a safety briefing of the van, and then we're off. So that takes about maybe an hour and a half. I think it took about an hour and a half. Should I bring a hairdryer and straighteners? Wish I had a hairdryer today. So for a BLT tour and a hotel tour, no. And the reason for that is America are really good with their hotels. They actually have hairdryers in the hotels, so you don't really need to bring one. For Vegas and stuff like that, I would say bring straighteners or curling iron or something for your nights out. because in Vegas everyone looks pretty and likes to wear nice stuff and goes out, and yeah, so maybe for Vegas too, I brought straighteners with me. But for hairdryer on both trips I didn't bring one. It's unnecessary. They have them there, and it's just extra stuff in your case which you don't need. So yeah. So for Vegas, everyone goes full out. So always make sure if you're going to Vegas in your trip, make sure you pack a really nice outfit. Girls, you do not need heels. Everyone pretty much goes out in flats, but if you feel more comfortable in heels, bring heels. But they'll be just for one night, so I think it's a very unnecessary thing to just pack a nice pair of heels for one day. But if you want to bring heels, bring heels. But every single time I've been to Vegas 4 times, everyone wore flats. So, and you can get in with flats. Boys, you need to have a nice pair of shoes for Vegas. I'm really sorry, they will not let you in with trainers. They just won't. So you need to pack a nice pair of shoes, or a black pair of shoes, or something you can get away with, but you cannot wear trainers into any of the clubs in Vegas. They will not let you in. I'm trying to pack, but I'm really struggling. Help. Okay, I am going to do a packing video separately to this. I don't know if it'll be before or after this video, so check that out too. But for my Southern BLT trip, I completely go with the logic of layers. Layers wins over everything. So definitely bring layers. So for the southern parts of that country, it's like stupidly hot. South part of America, like Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, they are so hot. LA, boiling. But when we were in like New York, it was obviously chillier than that, and then the Grand Canyon was actually snowing at one point. So depending on what time of year, you're gonna need layers. So definitely pack for layers in your trip for those. Canada, we actually were pretty lucky with Canada. I got to wear shorts and t-shirt and jeans for most of those. I hardly ever wore a coat at all. But when we went to Jasper, it was freezing, and we obviously went on the glacier walk as well. So I was on a glacier, it was freezing, I was freezing. So obviously we needed some really good layers and a hat and gloves for that as well. So it does have a nice little list in the Trek Tips as well for that, so have a little look at that, and that'll tell you what you pack. Optional extras, which one should I book in advance, and what do I book when I'm there, and do I need cash? Optional extras, you can see listed on the website for each place. They have some really good optional extras. So some things are included within the package, and then you've got these optional things which you can choose to pick when you get to each location. So you can basically make a holiday of your choice and do whatever you want to do, which is great, and it's really flexible and you can do whatever. For example, things you booked when you get there with the tour leader were like the helicopter ride in Grand Canyon, you booked with them. The Navajo Jeep tour, we booked with them as well. And the swamp tour in Louisiana, we booked through them as well, through Trek America, through the tour leader on the day. They will tell you in advance when they will need money for those. So then we had the chance to get money to the tour leader and get cash out at certain places, because obviously sometimes there weren't cash points all the way down, so they will let us know before we get there and we can hand the money and go, yeah, we want to do this part. So yeah, they booked all that for us, so that was really easy to do. Alcatraz is something you need to book in advance because they sell out for that tour weeks in advance, so definitely book that. Things like Universal and Disneyland, you can get those things on the door. So definitely don't worry about those, so you can do those. Things like in New York where you can do Top of the Rock and the taxi ride that I did, you can book those there and then. They're not really a problem, they're always available. Tickets for like the Lion King that I went to, yes, if it's a really popular musical or show, then yes, you will need to book that in advance maybe. I booked mine when I got there because I booked that on impulse. I didn't think I was going to go. I thought I was going to see Wicked, and then I decided to see Lion King instead just because you know, it's my birthday, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that, why not? Definitely do some of the optional activities, like zip lining, that was amazing, definitely do that. The Jeep tour, the swamp tour, those things, honestly, they were amazing. I definitely highly recommend doing them. I never did the helicopter ride because I've already been to the Grand Canyon before, so I didn't see the point. So definitely do the helicopter ride if you're going to Grand Canyon for the first time, because the girls, when they came back, they were just like, how did you do your visa? So if you're flying into America, you need an ESTA. If you're flying into Canada, you need an ETA. So one of those two you'll need in order to get into America or Canada. All the information in order to fill that out is on the website, on the Trek America website. But yeah, it's really easy to fill in. It takes maybe about 5 minutes out of your life, and it's only about $14 for each of those, so that's about £7. So it was really easy. The only thing is, if you do have any criminal convictions, it might take longer, but yeah, no, it was really simple to do. And for the Canada one, it pretty much came back the same day, I think, and they let me know by email. But for the ESTA, it took about 3 days, about 72 hours, and I had to log back in. They don't send you an email, so you need to log back in to check. Do I need travel insurance? Yes. So you need valid travel insurance to cover you for the whole trip, like you would do any holiday. The only thing about this trip is that you need soft adventure travel insurance. So it needs to cover you for all the activities you're going to do, because this isn't a normal holiday. You would be doing things that you wouldn't do on a beach in Benidorm, for example. So whitewater rafting, zip lining, all those sort of things you need to be covered for. And you also need to be covered for helicopter rescue, so in case you hurt yourself in the Grand Canyon, which I almost did, the only way out is by helicopter, so you need to be covered for helicopter rescue as well. Trek America have one for anyone within the EU, anyone outside the EU, sorry, I don't know anyone else that would do it, you need to have a look. Do I need walking boots, or will trainers be okay? If you have hiking boots, then yeah, especially the Canada trip, yeah, I think you definitely get some good use out of those. I didn't do some of the hikes because my ankles, as you guys probably know, are absolutely ridiculous from my years of playing hockey. But yeah, any trainers with really good grip are great. I think the only place that I really wish I had something with a better grip was when I was on the glacier and I was sliding all over the show. Just ridiculous. Any trainers with a really good grip, if you've got hiking boots, yeah, bring them, but if not, just try and find some really good trainers, to be honest. Yeah, it'll fine. How much money do I need to bring on the tour? There is no really good answer for this. I've made this sort of spending money guide on my on my FAQ blog. I'll link it below. I did an FAQ blog last year, and what part of it was spending money, and I did a really good calculator thing on there, so I'm just going to read that out. Basically, everyone is different for Trek America. Like, I asked everyone, like, how much money do you bring? Like, on a nice way, not like in a really inquisitive, like, how much money did you bring sort of way. Because everyone brought different amounts, because we're all different. Like, everyone will want to do different activities, more people will drink than others. So everyone has a different way that they would calculate this. So I have a really good calculator I'm just going to list here now. If you're on a camping trip, you'll need a food kitty. Food kitty is $10 a day. If you're on a hotel trip, like I was both times, then you'll need $35 a day for food. You will also need about $10 to $15 a day for snacks on the road. Drinks and M&Ms basically for me. You also need to take into account the optional activities you want to take part in. So for me, I wanted to do quite a lot of optional activities on my first trip, and on the second trip I hardly did any. So have a look on your Trek tips, they're all listed there and on the website as well, and then you can just calculate which of those you want to do and then add them all up together. Also in America, they also have a cultural thing for tipping. So some employees don't get paid enough because their tips are included within that price, so you need to tip them, so it makes up the estimate of their wage, if that makes sense. So for the tour leaders, you need to tip them between $5 and $7 a day, depending on how great you thought they were. For both trips, we put all the money together for Emily, for our first tour leader. We put everything in a moonshine jar and gave it to her that way together. So she had it all together, and then we did sort of the same thing for Olivia, and we put it all together and then gave it to her with a card and a cactus as well. You also need to take into account transport to and from the trek. So for example, if you are getting an Uber, like I did for my LA, starting from LA, you need to take that into account. Or from New York, we also got a transfer for there as well. So you need to take all those sort of taxis as well into account. And then the last thing was money for drinking. For the first trip, I didn't really drink that much. For the second trip, I did. I drank a lot. If you saw my Canada vlogs, you'll see pretty much every single night we're like, we're going out drinking, we're going out again. For the second trip, we drank a lot, but for the first trip, I didn't really, and that was a 21-day trip. It was probably a good thing. You need to take all these into account, and then hopefully if you build this up as a sort of Trek America calendar list, then maybe you'll be able to evaluate how much you want to spend and how much you should bring with you. So hopefully this helps. How should I take my spending money? I took foreign exchange cards both times. Both of those were with the post office. I know Trek America offer an FX card. I didn't do this in time to get the FX card, so you need to buy it in advance because they have to send it to you. So I got mine from the post office both times. The first time I had my post office card, I absolutely hated it and I raved about how much I hated it. The second time, when I went to Canada, they have done so many improvements. I absolutely loved it. It was so much easier. I managed to get my money back in time. The first time it took me 3 months to get it all back. It was horrendous. They actually have a way that you can move your money over to different currencies now. So yeah, I absolutely loved the post office card the second time around. The first time I damned it. Damned it to death. But yeah, I took most of my money through the foreign exchange card, and then I had money with me in hand on both trips for the very first part of the trip. So you always need cash with you at the beginning of the trip, especially if you're doing like food kitty. You'll need money to give to the tour leader straight away because you're paying for food. What are the treks like? I'm not a very experienced hiker. Honestly, like you saw me, I didn't take part in some of the trips. You do not have to take part in some of the hiking trips. They're not going to push you up a mountain. No one will be pushing me up a mountain. So you have the option to take part or not. Also for like some of the hikes I did take part in, and I do have weak ankles, so there were hikes where you could stop and turn around at some points like I did for the Grand Canyon. There are also some hikes that you can take part in on different routes, so you can separate and go on different routes and do those instead. So some of them will be a more experienced level than others, and some of them won't be. So it's completely up to you on which hike you want to take part in. And yeah, honestly, I do believe you should do some of the hikes because obviously it's Trek America. Trek is part of the name. But they are really beautiful, and some of the scenery is just absolutely amazing, and they're completely worth doing. Honestly, I wish I could take part in more of them, but my ankles will one day snap off, I believe. Were you able to meet people in advance? Yes. So Trek America have this really cool iTrek community place. So like it's a forum on their website where you can meet and talk to other passengers and get to know them beforehand and have a little chat. For one of them, I didn't hear from anyone at all, and then for the very first one, I met Yvonne beforehand, and then yeah, we got to talk that way. Not everyone uses the iTrek community, so if people don't talk back, don't take it to heart. But yeah, if you do manage to meet up with people, honestly, personally, I like the surprise. I like the surprise of meeting people when I get there. But yeah, if you really want to meet people beforehand, check out the iTrek community. It's on their website, and you'll be able to talk to people that way. Okay, so that's it. I hope you guys like this Trek America Q&A video. If you have any other questions for me about Trek America trip, please list them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you have any advice about a Trek America trip, so if you've been on a camping trip, for example, because I've never been on a camping trip, and you have some advice you'd like to give, please leave it below as well. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!